Hey guys, J Games here again. This is gonna be what if Ichigo was raised in Seireitei. Before we start, I did leave my notes in another room, so I'm gonna go get those real quick. Okay, ready. Alright, so with this, I'm gonna go over how the story begins. Yhwach was basically spectating around the lives of the remaining few Quincy's, mainly in Karakura Town because there's heavy Shinigami traffic there. He says check out the ones that cause trouble, being basically the one like the Quincy who caused the most trouble, which would be Uryu's mother, Masaki, fetus Ichigo, which also includes fetus Uryu, by the way. Or see, at this point, I think Uryu is older than Ichigo, so Uryu will probably already be born. But so Uryu isn't harmed, but his mother's dead. So so Masaki, fetus Ichigo, and Ishina are the biggest troubles. So with this, those three are turned to be killed. And Yhwach did it in person, and so the fact that he made sure that they could die. Now with this, eventually, Masaki didn't actually die. Ishina was placed a barrier around her that kind of stopped Yhwach temporarily. But Yhwach slashed through it and didn't realize there was a barrier there with how weak it was. All it did was negate the damage, which allowed Urahara, Yoruichi, and Tessai to arrive and save Masaki by bringing her to the Soul Society to Mayuri and Unohana. They did the best they could, but her injuries were honestly too severe, and she still died. Also, wasn't that her wounds were severe? No, it's just that Yhwach had used the silver that killed her. So but her last words were basically, take care of Ichigo. She shot to the boat below figure she could find. She grabbed onto Yamamoto. Yamamoto recognized the wounds as ones he had found on shoulder piercings that he found from Yhwach. He knows Yhwach's attacks and everything. He fought the man 1,000 years ago, and has trillions of people that he killed or that were killed by Yhwach. So I think Yamamoto would recognize Yhwach's attacks. With this being recognized, it actually says that he'll take care of the boy. Urahara looks at him saying, you know you don't need to, even if she grabbed onto you. With this, immediately, Yamamoto walked over before actually telling Urahara that the man who killed her, he thinks he may know who did it, but until he has hard evidence, he'll be the one protecting his boy, as he's the only one capable of doing it. Well, besides the Zero Division, but he doubts they'll care for him. With this, he picks up Ichigo, and, he has a bit of help raising Ichigo. So But we've just sorted around 10 years when Ichigo's a full-fledged Shinigami already, and he's had training from Urahara, Yoruichi, Tessai, Shansui, Utake, and Yamamoto himself. But also, to add on to Yamamoto, we have Tojiro. Tojiro's Yamamoto's right-hand man, and Ichigo's big babysitter as well. But Ichigo also needs to learn how to be human, so he went into Land of Living with Yoruichi, Tessai, and Urahara, with Ukitake being the one escorting him around in a wheelchair. So, Urahara, Ukitake was the one in the wheelchair, Ichigo's kind of just using on his lap as he's being pushed around by Tojiro, but, or Shansui, but Ichigo knows how to live as a human, and as a Shinigami. So, and they all helped Ichigo with the schooling and Shinigami powers. By the time Ichigo was 15, though, he was already the captain of the division for around 2 years now. Which means Ichigo has the title of Kenpachi from the age of 13 to 15. Yes, you heard that right. At the age of 13, he has the title of Kenpachi. And he beat Kenpachi Zaraki without even using a Shikai or a Bankai. So, I'm going to go over Ichigo's stats just to tell you how strong he is by the time he's around 13 years old. Well, 13 to 15. So he's already a Shinto master. He knows Hida and Kaku, the fact that Mayuri studied Quincy's before, so plus he learned it himself, so it's a learnable ability even to Shinigami, plus Ichigo's natural Quincy, and Yamamoto does know Quincy attacks and abilities, so Ichigo can do that with those two's help. Also, Urahara does know a bit about Quincy's, plus he introduced Ichigo to Ryuken, who did give a bit of help for Quincy abilities as well. A bit, not too much, because he's still not a fan of Quincy's. Ichigo's a master of Hakudo with the help of Yoruichi and Yamamoto, but mainly Yamamoto, who's just a complete god at it. So sorry about that. The Shenpo, the teaching mainly was on Yoruichi. She's really good at that. For sword teachings, it was left up to Shansui and Chojiro. So and for basic schooling in Soul Society, it was mainly Ukitake. Then for Kido, he was basically a master of that as well. And for Kido, for his mastery, he basically can do most skills with the help of Tessai. Tessai is the head of Keto Corp, by the way, which means he's probably a captain level person. It's just he doesn't get much screen time. So yeah. So yeah. Plus he can do like the Quincy bow. And within Ichigo's 15, he already has a Shikai, like a mastered Shikai and a mastered Bankai. So yeah. Plus Yamamoto helped him get in contact with his Zanpakuto spirit. So he already knows he's already a decently like skill, like he's already on good terms with Ben Zangetsu, and he's on frenemy terms with Ichigo or Hollow Ichigo. But this doesn't give him like kind of Tensei Zangetsu. It basically kind of gives him just like the same Zanpakuto as before, but like it's his first Zanpakuto. Like it's like similar in size to a Shikai one, but just different. Just you guys don't know what his first Zanpakuto is, or what it looks like. Ichigo has that. Go ahead and just Google it. Ichigo's first Zanpakuto. Ichigo has that thing still, and he usually wears it on his back. So yeah. So yeah, and his Shikai basically his sword kind of just grows to like what his normal Shikai looks like, but he can turn the blade into pure flames, and it can turn into any weapon such as like he usually uses it for like a whip or a cannon that shoots fireballs. Basically, whatever like he can imagine made out of flames, the blade can turn into. But he usually uses it for like a whip, a cannon, and a shield, or the blade just grows to the point where it's probably bigger than a building and it cuts through basically anything. But he basically made it this way so he can kind of contend Yamamoto while having good defense and better offense. So yeah. Like, all of his bow powers are basically wanting him to have some way to contend Yamamoto. So, yeah. His Bankai, basically he would get Tensei Zangetsu when he says Bankai. And basically it allows him to use pure energy manipulation, but also flame manipulation. Like, imagine Yamamoto Zankan no Tachi North, but then have that with him being able to control the shape of the flames, what the flames do, what color the flames are, but also tag it in with energy manipulation. That is Ichigo's Bankai. But Ichigo hasn't mastered his Bankai fully, like Yamamoto's mastered his. Yamamoto's had like almost 2,000 years to be able to do that, so yeah. But yeah. Now, with Ichigo being able to go back and forth to like the human realm, like land of living and Soul Society, he does have the same friend group as in canon, as he does work part-time at Urahara's shop in the land of living. So yeah. His friend group happens to be the same: Mizuhara, Yoroichi, Mizuhara, Keigo, Tatsuki, Orihime, Chad, and he already knows Uryu. He's known Uryu since he was like 9. So yeah. So yeah. So he has the same friend group. At some point, Ichigo's on a mission land of living, and he's on land of living with his third seat, Ikaku. You guys are wondering the ranks of the division. So captain is Ichigo, or the Kenpachi is Ichigo. The lieutenant is Zaraki. He's not Kenpachi, it is just Zaraki. So Kenpachi Ichigo, Zaraki is the lieutenant. Third seat is Ikaku. Fourth seat is Yachiru. Fifth seat is Yumachika. So yeah. Yachiru's Zanpakuto, it's strong, and Yumachika regularly disrespects his Zanpakuto, so Ichigo does lower his points for that. So yeah. So he's on mission with third seat with Hiruki being attacked by a hollow. But Ichigo immediately just yelled, like, oh, 199, Black Coffin. So Ichigo does have, like, he already has no limit on what Kido he's allowed to use. So, yeah. He's gonna use it either way, he doesn't care. He would use it as basically a energy spear, shot clean through the hollow from most of his body. Ichigo walked over and purified it. Hey, Shorty, you okay? He's into picking up Rukia. And Ikaku would just use low-level Kaido to patch up Rukia. Ichigo's teaching his division the way of the Shinigami, while also letting them keep their violent tendencies. Which includes Kenpachi. Like, Yamamoto's like, there's no need to teach them the way they're Shinigami. Ichigo says, if he learns the way of the Shinigami, I think he'll be stronger than you, even if he doesn't unlock a Shikai or a Bankai. Like, his one-handed slash could possibly be compared to tens of thousands of two-handed slashes if he learned the proper way to swing a sword. So Ichigo's constantly training the top 5 seats by himself while he trains the whole division almost every single day. But it's like personal kind of training with like the top 5 seats being Kenpachi. Well, Kenpachi is him, so it doesn't matter. So Kenpachi, Zaraki, Ikaku, Yachiru, and, well, Yumachika. So yeah. So Rukia got up looking at Ichigo, and she says, "Yeah, I'm fine. Hello, Kenpachi, Ichigo." Ichigo repaired the damage surrounding area pretty easily, and he ended up talking to her for a bit after he remembers, like, who she is. She's, the sister of Byakuya. Like, Ichigo's friends with basically every single captain besides Aizen. Besides Aizen and Tosen, he's friends with every other captain. Plus, Komamura already doesn't wear armor around because Ichigo told him, oh, living werewolves are badass. They're amazing. Soul Society, if we were to incorporate some of that culture here, you'd probably be just as amazing. And Ichigo just bring in some technology back and forth with Urahara Mary's help. Soul Society is already a bit more advanced. They already upgraded to having like some sort of like streaming services. Not a lot, but some. So yeah, it's been like kind of comedy and it's been comedy and romance movies right now, but that's about it. But Ichigo's working on it. So with this Komura, like a few years ago, already started to not wear the armor around. So yeah. But Ichigo reported back to Yamamoto saying, he wants, he reports there's a lot of hollows in Karakura Town. He says that, with him, Ikaku and Rukia, he's going to train them, but also with the Vizards and the quote unquote traitors here, if they should be able to clear them all out. And Yamamoto just nodded, saying, "Do as you please. Just come back within a month, within like this amount of time, and I'll give all your missions to the former Kenpachi Zaraki." Ichigo says, "Alright, go ahead." Yamamoto just nodded. Kenpachi was like, "Alright, well, I'm back as temporary captain." As he puts on a robe that says, temporary captain. Because Ichigo does tend to go on his own for a while, as he doesn't like being accompanied by teams, unless it's Kenpachi or Ikaku. Maybe Yumachika if he's willing to use the Shikai, which is very useful, actually. So yeah. So while Ichigo spent time in Karakura Town training Ikaku and Rukia, he even had Chad, Orihime, and Uryu being able to train with them. And Ichigo trained himself, but also Ryukin helped train him to learn more Quincy powers, as Ichigo and Ryukin are on pretty good terms as well. Ichigo teaches him the way of Kaido, which is healing, as there's Reishi in, I think, everyone, but not enough to see spirits. Or if it's not, there's at least Reishi and Quincy's, so I assume they can pull off Shinigami powers as well, if Shinigami can pull off Quincy powers. So he's teaching Ryukin Kido on the fact that Ryukin teaches him how to use Shinigami powers. And Ryukin doesn't know that some Kaido could be more helpful than actual surgical tools. So yeah. So now while everyone's here, Ryukin had let them sleep in the closed Kurosaki clinic as he had bought it. So yeah. But eventually, by the beginning of the Soul Society arc, everyone who trained in living, their strength was insane. It was basically just one giant training arc. So yeah. For strength, Ichigo already achieved the Horn of Salvation as he trained with the Vizards as well, because he knows they're here. He knows almost everyone who's living that's a Shinigami. So the Vizards were already an option they wanted to train with because Urahara identified, there's hollows inside. There's a hollow spirit inside of them, or at least hollow Reishi. Or at least they identified it too. So he trained with them for a while, and he's already having a good relationship with Hollow Ichigo. Well, Attending Mask was honestly just something that he did in like the first 10 minutes and mastered it in the first 3 of him having it on. But then he trained the whole time with just that mask, achieving Horn of Salvation almost immediately. Him and Hollow Ichigo are very good friends. So yeah. Ikaku mastered his Bankais who got in early, like before. Ichigo always trains them for around the last 2-3 years. So Ikaku already had it, and he's pretty open about it. Ichigo encourages him to be open about it. So yeah, he fully mastered his Bankai now. It's not broken at all. Plus, Ichigo would probably have him go up to Oetsu to kind of fix it, so, yeah. Now, Chad's power matches his power in the Fullbringer arc, which is saying something. And Orihime's power matches her abilities, or her abilities match the one in Thousand Year Blood War. Though her healing's already insane, because Ichigo is teaching her Kido as well. And Uryu's power also matches Thousand Year Blood War, as he's being taught Kido as well. Well, he's also been taught Shunpo, so he's that intimidation with Hirinyaku, and he's pretty strong. So yeah. Now, Ichigo decides to actually go back to the Soul Society at this point. Also, because one about Rukia. She achieved a Shikai and on the verge of achieving Bankai. Ichigo already realized her potential was close to it, so he had her train Urahara for a long time. So yeah. I'm going to go over who everyone trained under that wasn't just Ichigo. Uryu trained under Tessai to perform low-level barriers and healing, but also his father did get a bit of help as well. Chad trained under Yoruichi to learn Shunpo and Hakuda, which he's doing really good at. This is why he's as strong as he is in the Fullbringer arc. His Hakuda's insane. Plus his speed and strength are nothing to play around with, so one punch from him may as well just be death, no matter if he has his arms on or off. I'm talking about the Fullbringer arms. And Orihime had constantly trained under Urahara, so yeah. But yeah. Now by the time the Soul Society arc would begin, they all returned to the Soul Society, but Ichigo actually allowed the two of them to go with them, being Chad and Orihime. They head over to Soul Society to continue their training. So yeah, so Chad is introduced to Shunsui by Ichigo, and Ichigo thinks that these two get along pretty well, or at least Shunsui would like Chad, and they do get along well, so it works out. And Orihime is introduced to Unohana. So Unohana would finish teaching her Hito about healing, but also be able to teach her the basics of Shunpo and Hakuda. As Unohana is insanely strong no matter what. So yeah, and then Shunsui does this thing for Chad, but Chad does also unlock Muay Thai a lot earlier. Not Muay Thai, Diablo. The other one connects Diablo a lot earlier. But eventually a few days would pass, and Aizen's betrayal would happen. When Ichigo's orders, he only sends out his division, as Yamamoto will allow Ichigo to kind of do as he pleases. Ichigo's about as good as a leader as Yamamoto, so if Ichigo steps up and telling that everyone has a plan, he's almost probably going to have them all follow it, unless it's into like a war. So, but since it's just these three traitors, Ichigo's the one following it. So yeah. Yamamoto tries to tell Ichigo, they have to be under some sort of mind control. Ichigo just says, he's getting the Reishi, they're not under control, they're doing this of their own free will. Momo heard this, she actually does trust Ichigo in a judgment, almost much she trusts Aizen. Even Toshiro spoke up, saying he's doing the same thing. He can't sense any sense of any ill intention by anyone besides Aizen, and Aizen's Reishi always seemed to be like this, just suppressed. But Aizen has been under my control for years now, or simply, he's been waiting to do this. And Momo thought, Aizen's a planner, she knows this, so everything I said made sense now. She hated it that it made sense, but it did. So with this, under Ichigo's orders, Ichigo immediately has Zaraki restoring Tozen, while Ruki ended up freezing down Gin, using her Shikai. Tadikaku and Rangiki closed in on him, but Aizen saved him, seeing him as the most valuable one. With Aizen tries to escape, he's grabbed by the face from Ichigo, who's using Horn Salvation now, and he throws Aizen through a building. Aizen kind of just boxed for a while, but eventually Aizen's able to open a portal, as Ichigo almost killed him actually. Ichigo was that close to killing him in the battle. But he escaped barely using Hollow Portal, and Ichigo jumped back, not wanting to go into Mundo with this amount of Reishi emitting off of himself. So immediately a hand went through the portal, jumping after him, only a hand would be cut off, and it happened to belong to a Menos Grande. So yeah. Ichigo, if he wanted to, could have destroyed the Soul Society or Hueco Mundo with Aizen in it, but he didn't want to do that. He has some heart. So yeah. But yeah. But also, Ichigo's somewhat scared of Kyoka Suigetsu, as Ichigo was hit by it once or twice, but he was kind of forced it out of his mind with the help of some Kaido and Bakudo. So yeah. Now with this, Aizen and Gin are healing for a bit, while Tozen is just detained. Now Tozen waited days for Aizen and Gin to come save him, but they never did. Ichigo even said he will make an order to use Yamamoto of all people. He wants the Visors, Urahara, Tessai, and Yoruichi back into this whole society. Because, people like Tozen, who happen to have hollow powers, but also just guys like Aizen out there with Kyoka Suigetsu, someone like Shinji would be helpful against him. Yamamoto couldn't help but agree with this, and kind of just says, Hollow Fight Shinigami and traitors. I'm shocked that I'm even allowing... Yamamoto's suddenly hit in the face by Ichigo, with actually a flaming arrow, as Ichigo just smirks, saying, I'm a Hollow Fight Shinigami, and we clearly see Aizen's the true traitor. Here, quit speaking. If you know it's all lies. If you know it's all lies and, fake emotion. And Miyamoto just smirks that Ichigo had that gall, and decides to let everyone back in. So yeah. Now with this, Urahara helps kind of fix everything up, as he even gave his shop to Ryuken, as Ryuken still lives in the living. And Ichigo, Shinji, and Tessai are kind of moving Urahara's shop, they're moving all his materials or belongings to the Soul Society now. While they're moving, they end up seeing Ulquiorra and Yami arrive, or Yami, whatever you want to say. But Shinji kind of looked at the two as he pulled his mask down, and Ichigo ended up kind of staring at them as one of his eyes would turn black with a brown pupil. So yeah, guess I just easily punched Yami, sending him flying through the air, while Shinji and Ichigo kind of just completely obliterate Ulquiorra just using raw hand-to-hand combat. Shinji's physically strong enough to actually hurt Ulquiorra, and Ichigo is just Ichigo. Like, this Ichigo is probably comparable to, like... Well, without a sword, he's probably comparable to Holly-Bell. This Ichigo is a master of Hakuda to the point where he knows almost every Hakuda technique in the series. Any Hakuda technique you've seen happen in the series, Ichigo probably knows it. So, well, in technique you've seen Shinigami use, probably. He's probably done it before. But, yeah. But Ulquiorra is nearly killed. But Tessai has Ulquiorra detained while Yami is actually killed. So, yeah. But actually, is he killed? No, my notes don't say he's killed. Yep, he's alive still. He just escapes. Ulquiorra helps him. And Ulquiorra is just detained while Soifon and Yoruichi interrogate him. Ulquiorra didn't give much information, but Ichigo gave him a peaceful death, so to say. Ichigo quickly kind of cut him in half and killed him. That's about it. So yeah. With this, Aizen kind of saw how like Ulquiorra was killed already, and Yami was just come back in the worst condition possible. And he had Gin start training all the Espada. As you guys are wondering why I wanted Gin to train him. Gin and Tozen are supposed to be like the ones above the Espada, so I assume that they could be good for training. They could be good for like opponents. So yeah. Pause. So Gin spends his whole time training the Espada in the ways of the Shinigami, but not teaching him Shinigami techniques, as he still does want the Shinigami to win, as he's still a traitor to Aizen, just not right now. So yeah. Orihime isn't taken, but Aizen knows, not Aizen, Ichigo being smarter than Canon by like a ton, like miles, he already knows that Aizen is probably planning a master power growth for the Hollows. So Ichigo ushers Zaraki to train with Unohana, or quote-unquote, train with Unohana, because if the Espada are as strong as Aizen wants them to be, no one in here will survive, especially with Zaraki constantly holding back. With this, Unohana will know what Ichigo wants, and she would agree to it, saying that it's probably the right thing to do. Where she leaves, though, she'd actually kind of hold some of her reishi into like a small blade that Urahara had made. And everyone in her division pours reishi in the sword. She tells them what they're going to do. And they all call a meeting with Orihime. Orihime was going on until Isane stabbed her in the back, and the reishi from the sword poured into Orihime's body, giving her almost as much reishi as Unohana. Unohana can smell that her reishi is restored, and she will leave, telling Orihime, "You've learned everything that I can teach you, and we poured it into your sense of Enrica. Probably the best healer we could offer. We're now the 4th Division captain." As, well, immediately Orihime realizes that she's actually a Shinigami now. She's actually shocked by this. She actually cries, as she doesn't know that Unohana's leaving, and her new student happens to be Isane, who's also crying almost as hard as she is. But yeah, now Unohana left and fought Zaraki, and she realized that she has no chance of winning this, even if Zaraki didn't use a sword. Hell, she doesn't think that she'd win, even if he only used a few fingers. Keep in mind how strong Ichigo has made Zaraki. He's an expert in Kido, expert in Shunpo, and a master of Hakuda, plus sword technique. Ichigo drilled Kido into Zaraki, the fact that he knows Zaraki wouldn't be good at it in a battle, unless he was fortunately taught it by someone stronger than him. So yeah. So with this, well, Kamachi even uses a sword, he kind of just fights Unohana, and bullies her the whole time, but tells her that he knows that he was just made unnecessarily strong, but he's still glad that he is closer on his strength. Unohana says that she's glad that she can finally be killed by the one man who gave her true pleasure. There's a line from her in the story, actually. This is an actual line from her towards Zaraki. So yeah. With this, eventually, Unohana is killed by Kenpachi, who just kind of tears her in half. And there's a fight right then and there. So yeah. But Unohana kind of thinks, and like her last thoughts are, what kind of monster are you trying to make, Ichigo? Those are her last thoughts towards Zaraki, or towards Ichigo about Zaraki. Ichigo already knew that Unohana was dead and was able to think about this, and kind of like thought back, saying, "A monster that'll make sure that the society will never ever fall, no matter who attacks us." So yeah. I think the fight Zaraki let out a primal howl as he turned into the ogre. It's just shocked that this is Kamachi's Bankai. He didn't even know he achieved a Shikai yet. Ichigo suddenly turned around. He felt something weird happen. Weird feeling that he felt happen. You can't find Yachiru. But Ichigo felt a giant boost in power towards Kenpachi that wasn't from a normal Bankai. And smirked, saying, "You were that shut off from your Zanpakuto that it manifested itself as a real person." God damn, Machika are annoying. He kind of snuck behind Kenpachi, taking Unohana's corpse, and left. And Kenpachi ogred out, or not Kenpachi, Zaraki ogred out for around 48 hours before he gained control and fainted for days on end. Kaku and Machika heal him while he trains for techniques for the ogre form for days. Kaku decides to help Machika achieve Bankai and make him see his own Zanpakuto spirit in a different light, and does work. Rikime kind of learned Bankai from Ichigo personally, and he taught her how to do it easily. Her Zanpakuto spirit is very similar to whatever Unohana's was. Because she knew Unohana's true nature, she's able pretty quickly to be able to get along with Unohana's Zanpakuto. So with this effortless mastery of her Zanpakuto spirit and some sword skill, she's actually able to fuse her Zanpakuto with her Sensen Rika. But kind of having her in an automatic Bankai mode without needing to use Bankai. And she doesn't waste Reishi how most Bankai users do. She just has Sensen Rika that basically has infinite energy now. Plus, the healing skill basically allows her to heal anything from, like, your lower body can be blown apart, and if you have at least 5 seconds of life left, she'll heal your lower body completely back to normal with a split second. Like, give her, like, oh, I'm alive for, like, 0.5 seconds. She'll restore your body in 0.003 seconds. That's how good her healing is now. So, yeah, it's pretty good. So, Momoto went to Shunsui and Ukitake and Chad, as Chad is always with Shunsui now. He's like Chad is like Shinsui's assistant now. Goes to room of one button now. Ichigo ended up moving her into the Keto Corp because he told her it'd be a good idea. You guys are wondering why Ichigo's giving so many orders? The fact that he's almost a better leader than Yamamoto is. Yamamoto are about the same level. Yamamoto kind of doesn't give orders at all unless it's for battle. Ichigo just gives orders that would help the society in the long run. So everyone prefers to listen to him over Yamamoto, and it's the right thing to do. So now in the Keto Corp, kind of just training for him in combat, and also how to use like a wooden sword, as she does see combat as a scary thing. So yeah. But yeah. But Ichigo has an idea for Uryu and Ryuken. Hollows are uncommon in the land living or Seireitei, and you two need to be ready. He says he's not pushing him as near death as much as possible, so that those two can get used to it. So yeah. With this, he's able to have the visors put like their energy into a jar, and turn the energy into a gas. With this, they end up kind of having the area kind of just be pumped full of gas constantly. And with this, those two are exposed to it for a long time, to the point where it's not killing them, but they're being pushed near death. And when it's done, their bodies are nearly immune to, Quincy, Their bodies are nearly immune, they are immune to the hollow poisoning now. Point where they can fight hollows how Shinigami do. But Ryuken also had Mayuri help him with something that he had found, being the arrowhead in his wife's corpse. As only person that Yhwach killed in person was Ichigo's family. So yeah, the arrow still in Ryuken's wife, it's just Ryuken didn't watch it happen. But with Mayuri and Urahara's help, the arrow was actually made a lot earlier, and they even make it like a weakness for hollows. As they use the opposite of what a Quincy is. A hollow. What's the opposite? Heard that, my bad. Hold up. What's the opposite of silver? It's gold. So they're able to make a gold silver tip full of the visors in Ichigo's Reishi, and also Quincy Reishi, and also Moto Reishi, to basically make sure that this arrow can kill any kind of hollow. So yeah. So Ichigo even has like kind of immunity to most Quincy-based powers now, because of the arrowhead. He cannot pour it in his bloodstream for like hours on end, Not enough to kill him, it's just being poured into him constantly. So, yeah. But yeah, so when everyone's ready, Orohara opened a portal to Hueco Mundo, and the squad would go in. The squad being every captain and the lieutenant, plus Ikkaku, Yumachika, Ryuken, Chad, and Uryu. Or he makes a captain, she counts. Alright. They go in, immediately as they go in, someone tries to kick Ichigo in the face. But Ichigo pretty easily has like a finger blocking the kick, saying, number 3. Blue hair, huh? You must be Grimjow, according to Tozen. As he kind of holds on Grimjow, saying, yeah, you're supposed to be number 6. What's wrong with that bastard make you? Before Grimjow knew it, he's thrown halfway across Hueco Mundo, not across like Las Noches. No, like he's thrown across Hueco Mundo itself. He's thrown across a dimension. That is how far Ichigo threw him. So yeah. Ichigo immediately activated his Horn of Salvation, as the markings on him are now silver, instead of being reddish or white, or black. I forgot what color they were. So yeah. Now, as the team's attacking, Wandenreich charge forward, trying to attack Yamamoto and Ichigo, as Wandenreich is meant to absorb the flames. But Chad didn't even use Yamamoto's Sokosu technique, which is like a double-fisted punch. He would use it, and immediately, using La Muerte in combination with it, plus just his shield technique, he blew Wandenreich's back out, literally. And it killed him on impact. Yeah, Wandenreich is dead. Like, his body is reduced to a fine powder. That's how hard Chad hit him. So yeah. But Chad, Ikkaku, Yumachika, Rangiku, and Ryuken are they're told to basically just wipe out every fraction you can find. Guys wondering why Ryuken is so involved here? He tries to be more involved with each other, the fact that he was friends. Like, Ryuken tries to be more involved with each other, the fact that he's an orphan, left by his friends, and his near lover, being Misaki, who's supposed to marry Ryuken. So yeah, if you guys didn't know that, Ryuken was supposed to be like the husband of Misaki, but Ishin and her fell in love first. So yeah, and Ryuken settled for his maid. So yeah, also his maid is a snitch. Fuck her. She's a baddie though. Or Hime basically scattered her son Rika all across Hueco Mundo, and it has a lady Kachi-like effect where basically it's like scattered healing and restoration of energy, but she's also able to use like a part of it as like what was it? She's able to use like one of the sides of the hairpin as a sword, but also the sword fires blasts, so it works out. So yeah. But her and Rukia and Isane are on the support team now. Now Stark, we're going to him, who would fight Shunsui and Nukatake. Stark is insanely strong now to the point where if Shunsui fought him alone, even with his extra training, Shunsui would die. Like, the Shunsui would not escape, even if Shunsui used Bankai on him. But with Shunsui and Nukatake, you can both use Bankai now, but also Nukatake's conditions a bit better with everyone's help. Stark kind of just mentions that they aren't dying, no matter how close they are to him. He's like, you guys aren't dying. Impress, and before he can finish the word, she's just him kicking him in the mouth, not saying him flying back or anything, but no, just kind of bruised him. He just says, sorry man, but I got some good sake waiting for me and my student back home. Talking is just wasting it. Stark kind of chuckles at Taki, kind of baffled, but Stark kind of just says, This is something to fight for, I guess. You should have got me better. Give me one hell of a fight. I'm bored. Ukitake got ready to fight, as he's mainly support, using his Bankai and Chika to fire back attacks, or use attacks very similar that have double the power. They're using very strong attacks right now. So yeah. But then we have Shunsui, who's basically the main attack force. And the fight kind of ends with like Usake being able to use a few Stark's attacks back on him, actually wounding him severely because there's Stark's own force hitting him. Stark's the only one that can kind of wound himself for a while. But then with these wounds being inflicted by himself, Stark's wounds are being hit by Ichigo now, by Shunsui now using his Bankai. Eventually with this, they do have him killed. So yeah, so Stark is killed, but he's happy that the fight went well. But yeah. But Ukazaki eventually kind of realized Rukia finished her job, so she's allowed to fight now. Come the teacher saying, "Oh yeah, you finished your job, you finished your assignment, just do what you want now, just don't leave." So yeah, Rukia is not allowed to retreat. No, just help others fight. And yeah. Now number 2, Bergen has to fight Tessai and Hachi. Hachi alone gave him trouble, but now he has to fight Hachi's master. But also Tessai, who's also a lot stronger than Canon, to the point where he beat the canonical 10 captains, or 13 captains, besides Yamamoto. And Aizen and Gin, of course. Those are the 3 that he cannot beat canonically now. That's how strong he's gotten from the training. So yeah, so with this, basically, it kind of up to like Bergen versus Tessai and Hachi. But Hachi's using his Hollow Mask, which is a lot stronger now. But also there's only a quarter of it showing up on his face. Hachi's power is a lot more increased. And he's even using his Bankai in combination with Kido. Same for Tessai. We don't know what their Bankais are, but they're using them. With this, these two, plus their advanced knowledge of Kido barriers and healing, well, Bergen can't even breathe or let off effective attacks without them being blocked, dodged, or countered. Yeah, Bergen kind of loses this battle pretty easily, even if he has amps. Like, oh, here's an aging amp. That's why it's like, yeah, here's a barrier that no one can escape. Yeah, Yamamoto Bergen isn't doing anything to these two at all. He's just an old man fighting he's like an old man fighting someone who's like fighting. This way put this fight. Imagine an 80-year-old man fighting 2 prime boxers, while the old man has nothing but a small needle. A needle being filled with just poisonous liquid. But this young man beat the hell out of him as he can't get near them. This poisonous liquid would rot them. But these 2 young men are kind of landing, hitting him so much to the point where every shot is breaking a bone. So yeah. But yeah. Now Ichigo's the one to fight Aizen. Right now, Aizen, and Aizen already evolved the form that he used to fight Dangai Ichigo. I forgot what form that is, but still, it's not as strong as this current Ichigo right now. So before this, may start off the what if with Horn of Salvation. Aizen's not winning this fight regardless. No matter what you want to say, he's not winning this fight. I don't care what your point is. Aizen will not win no matter what his desires are. So yeah. Now Yamamoto could kind of just walk around the battlefield, not killing random hollows that attack him. But eventually he found Gin. Gin and Yamamoto fight. They almost just one-shot him. And to Gin's shock, Yamamoto didn't kill him, which is odd. This is the fact that Ichigo changed him. Ichigo changed him better or worse because Ichigo has rules and is very stern, but also he's very compassionate still. So no matter what, he will not kill another Shinigami unless they do especially heinous shit. How do I phrase this? Ichigo is like Batman and Red Hood mixed in. Like, he has a side, but he's also willing to do whatever it takes. So yeah. He's on one side, but he's willing to do whatever he wants to either side to his maximum capability, be it killing a Shinigami or Hollow or Quincy. So yeah. Now number 3. Number 4. Holly fought Soifun and Yoruichi, who Yoruichi now has better control over her Shunko now, being able to control at least 88% of all of her switches. Using this plus Soifun using her Bankai. These in tandem are actually able to somewhat slaughter Holly as so Soifun's like, oh, here's a missile. Oh, Holly tries to dodge it or destroy it. Yoruichi jumps up in the air, grabs the missile, and slamming it right on Holly side. Yoruichi's kind of the one doing the main distractions or attacking, while Soifun is the one charging up the attacks and launching them off. So yeah, so these two combined are pretty much damaging Holly at any chance. So yeah. On to the next fight, Tsuraki versus Noitra, or number 5. So yeah. Now with this, Noitra attacks Tsuraki, but Noitra can stare him down for saying, "You're not worth it." He flexes Reishi to the point where Noitra's mask is shattering under the pressure of the Reishi. But when she kind of walked over before turning to the Ogre, saying, "You think you can beat me like this?" Noitra froze in the pressures. Everyone kind of, not everyone, but the ones who don't know about the form kind of froze looking at and the power he's emitting. As he grabbed Noitra by the head and ate it. Watching him spit the head out, saying, huh, he's not strong at all. As he walks away, he turns back into his normal form, and everyone's honestly just completely utter shock about this. So yeah. Now, Nelliel arrived on the battlefield as Ichigo had found her and even healed her mask with Urahara's help. If she's like a child, and when they healed her, it turned out to be a human. Not a human, but a grown-up. But she's on their side, so they didn't mind it. But she arrived and killed Edoniero pretty easily. While Ryuken, who finished up his faction, and Ryuken and Mayuri are fighting Seizel. So it is basically two geniuses who knew the in and out of the human body better than anyone else, even the mind, versus a sociopath who knew the body decently. The two geniuses take this fight no matter what. Seizel just had a chance and just killed off the bat. So yeah. Now Byakuya and Rukia fight Renji. They fight Zomari. Zomari basically tries to attack his full power immediately. Rukia kind of tells Byakuya, back up as far as you can, and Rukia just says Bonkai. With that, immediately as she would use Bonkai, she froze Zomari. Kind of froze him, and while he's stuck, about almost dead, Byakuya would just use some Zakura Kakuyoshi, making a pillar of ice. Not ice, pillar of flowers. That immediately just cut him to like almost atoms. That's how much power that he had. So yeah. Now with this, Luffy, there's not as much Espada anymore because two of them were killed. You guys remember about Yami? He did die due to injury. Forgot to mention that, but yeah. But yeah. So Luffy attacked Ikaku and Yumashika, but Ikaku just said Bonkai and let out a giant slash that cut Luffy in half. Luffy's not fully dead yet, but suddenly Yumashika had wrapped his Bonkai around Luffy and absorbed every ounce of Reishi that he had, leaving Luffy as like a dried up corpse basically. Ikaku and smirked, saying, "Yeah, that Bonkai is scary. Don't touch me with it, please." Yumashika smirked, saying, "Huh, I guess this Bonkai isn't so ugly after all. It's useful." Well, he let out a burst of Reishi. That's not flower petals, kind of like some Zakura, but they begin healing the allies. So yeah. Now with this, Ichigo and Aizen trade slashes, but Grimjaw arrived wanting to run the ones again. Suddenly, Urahara, Toshiro, and Komamura stop him. They easily defeat him, but he's honestly too durable to kill, actually. Like, Urahara even almost used Bonkai, the fact that he was just that durable that they couldn't break through his skin. But Ichigo kind of falls to his knees, saying, I'm like Aizen either way, but still, I can't take a loss with how strong I've become. Mr. Urahara smirks, saying, how about this? You can fight Ichigo after he wins. With this immediately, Grimjaw just nodded, saying, yeah, fine, whatever. So yeah. With this, Ichigo activated Zangetsu, being Shikai. His Shikai command is probably something like, what's something that represents Ichigo to a T, in my opinion? What could it be? Huh. I don't think Ichigo would actually have a command. I don't think he needs one. But yeah. But Ichigo's able to activate Shikai, while then turning his hollow mask on his horn of salvation, but began charging a Grand Race Hero on the tip of his Zanpakuto toe. Mainly when he went to get to his well, pouring energy and flames into this attack, before molding it into a Quincy Bow with his Zanpakuto as the arrow. So there's a Grand Race Arrow. There's a Grand Race Arrow, Quincy Bow, flames contesting Yamamoto, and so much more power attack onto this arrow tip at the point where Ichigo fires it right at Yamamoto, at Aizen. Aizen's still going all out trying to to defeat Ichigo. But Aizen sees that coming at him and kind of feels the pressure submitting, and his thoughts change, and so do his desires. His thoughts are basically this: I'm never going to win this battle. I just want to survive this absolute demon. So Hoku can kind of realize Aizen's desires in an instant, and allow Aizen to live. As soon as the bow hit him, it let off such a big blast that created a crater so big that it how to phrase this in terms that everyone can understand. This crater is so big, it basically broke bedrock. That is the crater I'm talking about. So yeah. Imagine doing something so impressive that you destroy bedrock in Minecraft. Ichigo's blast was so good that it eradicated the bedrock to ash. So yeah. But Aizen didn't die, he just passed out. So yeah. Then after Aizen's defeated, Ichigo, Urahara, Tessai, Hachi, and any other Kido Master plus the Kido Core would basically use spells to bind Aizen and they seal him. Around a year passes, Ichigo's around 16 now, and Hiyamoto started to fight Ichigo to the death. Ichigo and Hiyamoto begin fighting, at the point where the fight just enters the streets of this whole society. And Ichigo started on Hiyamoto before giving him the same question that Ichigo gave him. What's the difference between the king and the horse? It's not something like, one has 2 legs, one has 4. Form, ability, and power. And he gives the whole speech. Eventually, the point where Hiyamoto's like, I don't know, boy, and little do I care. I need to know that you're ready to take care of this whole society. Ichigo can go on with the speech, so Hiyamoto says, fine, what? Everyone watches the fight as Ichigo suddenly approaches Hiyamoto, almost as he had yelled Bankai, and Ichigo kind of put the tip of the to his head, saying, instinct. And before we knew it, Ichigo's Zanpakuto was so close to his head that he formed a Grand Racero in Yamamoto's own head and blew it up. As the Zanpakuto had blown up, Yamamoto's body still has the willpower to even move despite the fight's brain being gone, and his last power is to Ichigo through the chest. But Ichigo looked at Yamamoto's body before seeing a giant seal on it. He looked at the seal before he read the kanji. Trade. He's a little confused before the old Reishi and the sword poured through Ichigo's body, even though it stabbed him in the hand. That's about it. But as Reishi is being poured into Ichigo, he realizes that this isn't just Reishi. It's Reishi, it's knowledge, it's memories, it's skill, and it's power being poured into him. Ichigo's body even grew in size a bit, to the point where he grew from around 5'10", all the way up to almost the same height as Chad. Ichigo's body got everything that was done throughout the years, even scars. So yeah. So Ichigo ended up grabbing if you guys want to know what I mean by skill, by the way, it means sword skill, Kido skill, Hakuda skill, and Shunpo skill. He has all that in one now. But Ichigo picked up Ryujin and brought it all the way up to Uetsu. And Uetsu being actually asking Ichigo would like to fuse the 2 Zanpakuto. You can do that, it's just going to take a long time. But Ichigo said no, and says, he wants Ryujin repaired. He did just that, and healed it. Not healed it, but fixed it. So, yeah. Now, Ichigo is basically the new head captain, essentially as he has all the memories memories and knowledge of Yamamoto, so he's the best candidate, basically. So, yeah. Now, Ichigo being the new head captain, he let Zaraki take Tara's Kenpachi back, but he let him take Taro back as a user of Bankai and Shikai and recommendation. So Kenpachi is now the 13th Kenpachi. He was the 11th and the 13th, but he became the 13th in a whole different way. So yeah. But now his number 2 is Ikkaku. His number 3, Inuchika. But yeah, so Kenpachi doesn't like the way that he became Kenpachi, but still doesn't matter. So yeah, so now eventually a few weeks have passed as Mayuri, Ryuken, Hachi, Tessai, Urahara, Orihime, Shinji, Ukitake, and Ichigo are working on ways to extract or even make a stronger Hogokyu. After 4 months of concentration and ideas, they're eventually able to actually pull the Hogokyu out of Aizen, but he kept the amps and the forms. So yeah, now the Fullbringer arc. In this arc, Chad was being recruited by Execution, as he's honestly in the living, just visiting whatever he wants to visit, like friends like Keigo or Tatsuki. But he kind of felt his appearance was very similar to Shinigami. He's lived among them for years. He's been living in Shinigami for almost 2 years at this point. The man knows the presences of a Shinigami. Genjo's presence emitted Shinigami energy, and already knew this guy was bad news. But as Genjo starts talking to him, Chad was already able to get Uryu's attention a while ago. And as Genjo tries to convince, holds his hand up to give Chad a card, immediately an arrow would hit him right in the arm, and his arm is blown apart. So yeah, with this, Uryu smoked, kind of smirked as Genjo just yelled in pain. But Chad started execution before saying, "Del Diablo, la muerte." He literally punched that made a giant skull inside of a mountain that they were nearby, and most members of execution were killed, besides Ryuka, who just surrendered. And she went to Soul Society jail with Genjo, who was missing an arm. But yeah, so she was watching this whole thing go down. Is stuck in Soul Society he's stuck in the Soul Society to try to find some way of basically for someone to break them out. But as he snuck in, Ichigo already caught him, and he just used a Quincy bow arrow and turned him into ash. That's about all that happens. Alright, the year finishes, Ichigo's now 17, and he actually married Orihime. So yeah. Orihime retired as a Shinigami, since she already taught Isane Bankai and all the techniques that Unohana wanted her to learn. Chad already had the required education for his grade, and eventually moved on to take the GED and pass. With him having not much else to do in life, but also having enough skill to become a boxer, well, he moved on to become a professional boxer at the age of 17. Usually, you shouldn't be allowed, but Chad was able to fake a few documents to become one. So yeah. Also for education, thank Shinsui. He let Chad underage drink, but also had Chad get the best education possible. So yeah. Now Uryu, with him never seeing his dad perform surgery on his mother, he still does have an interest in being a doctor. Not too much, but still has one. So Uryu studying under Mayuri and Urahara to become a surgeon, while his dad is also helping him. But his dad is still living as he owned the Urahara shop, Kurosaki Clinic, and a hospital. He makes a lot of money off all three. So yeah. So for the Urahara shop, well, eventually with the society now actually looking like a modern city at this point, Urahara society actually moved back to the rural Karakura town and owns a shop now. While then for the Kurosaki Clinic, Uryu lives there. Uryu can live on his own with the help of Ryukin allowing it, plus the government helping. So with this, Uryu's actually able to live on his own. Also, there's a few fake documents that allow him to be a doctor. Yeah, so there's a lot of fake stuff allowing Chad and Uryu to have jobs that they shouldn't have. So yeah, but they go along, and Yhwach eventually awakens. He's able to kind of get around. As Ichigo survived, but also wields Ryujinjaka along with a different sword. One thing they recognize, though, is their flames. Flames so hot that they outmatch the sun individually. No, not on the surface. I'm talking about the center of the sun. They outmatch that. So yeah. All right. Now going forward again. We're going to basically just them having fun and everything, chilling out. We have Eber, who's sitting on Karakura Town, to find someone basically. They confronted Chino and Rinosuke to find out about Ichigo. Just wanted to know who he was. But as he's about to kill them because he didn't have any info, Chad had arrived using a shield, and then she used La Muerte to send them flying into a building. But Ichigo would use a new technique, using Ryujinjaka and his sword in tandem, and it was so strong to the point where even oh, a Bankai, I'll steal it. But Ichigo just yelled, "Scorching to Zangetsu." Even pendant, even realized it's not a Bankai ability, it was just a basic attack that these two have in tandem. But with this, Iburn is just turned to ash with how hard he was hit, and Ichigo had healed Shino and Rinosuke. But he brings them to the Seireitei, and that even has it's a basic modern city with like billboards and all that. The only thing that they don't have is cars. You guys want to ask why? Why people who can fly have cars? Why? So yeah. But yeah, so back on to the Wandenreich, or Wandenreich. Freaking reports that Ibern reports that, Ibern was too weak to steal out of the Shinigamis. And before before Freaking can even finish, Yhwach comes to scoffed and just looks at Freaking, saying, Ibern wasn't too weak. I doubt anyone can even steal that boy's Bankai besides myself. I even doubt myself that I can steal it. And once that silence, even Hugon was a bit confused and spoke up, saying, Sir, what about Yamamoto? Surely you'd need his Bankai. And Yhwach sighed, saying, that boy who killed Ibern, he killed Yamamoto a while ago. He's the adopted son and successor of Yamamoto. He possesses the ability of Yamamoto, including his Zanpakuto. Zanpakuto's in peak shape now. So it looks like we'll have to face someone who's the strength of Yamamoto in just one hand. But also a lot more power. So yeah. Pause. But yeah, I'm just going to explain everything about each other that he could to everyone else. Because, they'll be attacking soon, but be careful to not die. The knife will go forward around 3 or so days. When Ichigo's in his office, being Keishi's in an office now because the Soul Society is basically just a giant city or country, so yeah. But weeks until Ichigo's sitting around before 6 figures appeared in front of him, saying, we declare, as soon as the words "we declare war" come out of their mouth, Ichigo appeared behind them with their heads hitting the ground, saying he has no care for Quincy's at this point, even if he is one himself. Now, Ichigo looked away as they kind of fade away, and Ichigo just looked around before suddenly he wasn't he can sense his reishi or on Soul Society. But suddenly Tojiro was sent flying into the office with a Quincy arrow through his chest. Ichigo immediately punched the arrow as Ichigo began healing him, using a bit of Kaido to actually close the wound. His internal organs are still a bit damaged. Ichigo's good at Kaido, but not that good. He's a master of a lot of it, though. When he was able to arrive and she healed him perfectly, even restoring a bit of his energy. So, yeah. Chojo surviving, though, he basically could tell the truth that, they could take your Bankai. I lost mine. Ichigo's going to pick up Chojo for telling you need to rest, but I'll fix it. By the time you wake up, it's going to be fixed. I promise. Ichigo reached out to Ryuken, Uryu, Mayuri, and Ohara, and even Aizen, for ideas to repair the stolen Bankai. And eventually they make pills. They make the pills. The black ones. And they make around 50 of these pills, with 11 of them, with around 20 of them being for backups. These pills, 20 of them being backups, they are basically just simply the fact that, if your Bankai stolen, these are going to be for you. 20 of them being for the main strong users of Bankai. But Chojo gives him a pill, he gets Bankai back, and Driscoll lost the Bankai that he stole from Chojuro. Ichigo has Chad, Keigo, Uryu, Tatsuki, Mizuhara, and Ryuken staying in Seireitei. Now with this, Tatsuki, Mizuhara, and Keigo are kind of kept in a panic room, while Chad, Uryu, and Ryuken help set up defenses. So yeah. Now everyone helps set up defenses on Soul Society, or Soul City as some people call it, not Society, City. And yeah. Now Ichigo gonna have all members of the strongest members that go to 13, including the divisions. For example, it'd be Ichigo sending Chojuro for his division and go up, but then for second division he'd have hold up. Ichigo's people Renji, Akon, he's the number 2 Mayuri. Renji, Akon, Yumachika, who else? Momo, Shuhei, Toshiro, Iba. Who else besides Iba? Gin, he's alive in this one, he's okay. Gin, Nanao, Izuru, Komura, Isane, Kiyone, Byakuya, Rukia. Ishin's dead, I was about to say him. Mary, Nemu, Shinsui, Ikaku, Rangiku, Omaida, I'm trying to names with like top of my head. I don't know. I don't want to use my notes. Who else? Yoruichi. Soifon. Fuck, this is hard to do off the top of my head. Sorry for this. Tessai, Ukutake. Kisuke. Zaraki. Love, Shinji, Mashiro, Kensei, Rose or Rojiro, Hiyori, Hachi, Lisa, Kozen. Yes, all of them go up to Zero Division and train under them. And Zero Division doesn't mind because the enemies of the Soul King are coming to fight. So yeah. Now, yeah. Now, Ichigo did do the training with OSU, and it took him only 2 minutes because Ryujin Jaka was a bit hard to find. He found the gets in like the first 0.2 seconds. It was just that Ryujin Jaka was hiding from him. So yeah. But yeah, eventually the first attack would commence. Now Ichigo also got word from Neliel that Mundo was in a little trouble, and Ichigo just sent Gin and Tozen. So yeah. These two are also insanely strong now. They walk into the Hueco Mundo, and Grimjaw himself pretty easily dealt with like Kyoge. But there's so much fodder that belongs to Kyoge now that they're being overwhelmed by them. It's just there's a matter of numbers, not power. He doesn't arrive and pretty easily deal with the numbers that were here, but there's all those wrong. It's just numbers. So that's about it. But yeah, fights for the first wave of attacks. Chad would fight Kangdu. Chad's fists were leaving imprints on Kangdu's body without him even using like El Diablo or his other fist. It's just him using just raw might. And he's also enhancing a Reishi still, but still he's destroying Kangdu's ability, which is just armor. But eventually, Chad would use El Diablo as he holds on. He grabs like Kangdu by the head and says, "De muerte sucesivos." As immediately punches would slam all around Kangdu's chest. Point where Chad would basically punches Hilton in Kangdu's body, and it was kind of like a skeleton made of fists. But he had to stop punching as he let go Kangdu. Kangdu sent flying so hard to the point where he hit like a building, and his blood splattered all across the building. So yeah, Chad killed Kangdu pretty easily. Ichigo himself confronts Yhwach and fights him, or not fights him, kind of like looks at him for a bit before actually realizing this is not Yhwach. With memories from Yamamoto, this Yhwach's power didn't change all too much. There's like a bit of a difference in it, but he can't mimic it. This power isn't perfect. But Ichigo called out the phony, saying, I don't want to fight Lloyd. I want to fight Yhwach. Lloyd realizing he was just basically already caught, just one more Ichigo just used his Shikai in tandem, being just Ryujin Jaka and Tetsu Zangetsu. Now in tandem, there's basically just high flame emission and molding said flames using one Zanbakuto. Like Ryujin Jaka emits the flames, and Tetsu Zangetsu molds them. Ichigo would use both of them, and make a giant flame out of his heart of himself that stomped on Lloyd, turning him into a pile of ash when the flames touched him. So yeah. Now, Driscoll confronts Chojuro. Driscoll would say, "You're a mean bastard. I earned that bonka and I earned that kill, but you had to go and live. I'll kill you all over again easily, though." But Chojuro kind of sided before just saying, "Bonkai." He'll just rapier up as just a giant cloud of lightning will strike down on his Zanbakuto, and before the Zanbakuto was completely coated in lightning. So his rapier is now sharper, and it made him faster. Driscoll charged at him to try to use his shrift, but immediately Driscoll sees Chojuro behind him, and Driscoll just explodes in just a puddle of blood, and Chojuro can just smile, saying, "See, I earned this kill too, but I don't see you being healed or living on. So the difference is, I earned this, I survived, and I earned this. You didn't earn this, and you didn't survive. There's a difference." So yeah. Chojuro kind of thought this was cool, as Chojuro has like a whole thing of being corny. So I kind of wrote down the corniest thing I could think of for Chojuro, and that was that. Just something that made no sense, but also something that I could see someone trying to be a hero would say. But yeah. Now the next fight. There's like the Senator Robert. His name is Robert. Very, very bland. Rubber ended up charging kind of like full speed at Shunsui, and as Shunsui's eye is about to be lost, someone unexpected saves him. Lisa. Lisa putting a hollow mask on, proceeds to slash down Robert before firing a Gran Rosero, infused with Hado 48. You guys know what Hado 48 is? I'm pretty sure it's called Raying Light Fang, and it's basically just a circle that fires off green blasts. But when like Lisa uses it in tandem with Gran Rosero, the circle fired off just rapid Gran Roseros into Robert's body. But Robert his body's full of holes now. But Shunsui cuts his head off at the last second, saying, "All right then, now I have my quote unquote revenge." So yeah. Now we got the next rift, Jerome, who charges at Kenpachi. Yes, Kenpachi's Iraqi. He has title now. His name is now Kenpachi. So he starts like Kenpachi usually ready to sound blast to kill him. But Ichigo arrives, jumping on top of Jerome's head before covering his whole body in just vines. And Jerome's body is just reduced to the point where it's kind of a mummy now, as Ichigo kind of absorbed every ounce of reishi out of his body. And with this, he kind of sends the reishi in the air to actually heal people and restore buildings. Now, next part. As Noth. Basically, he still beat Byakuya, but barely. The training with the third division for Byakuya had done wonders for him, even if it was only a few days. But the fear still got to him, so he had been losing. This thing is going different for Renji, as he's kind of equaling out masked and masculine. Equaling him out, he's not winning or losing. But yeah. Ruki and Toshiro had arrived, as Ruki would just immediately just yell Bankai and in full control of it, and shoot Director Strong's attack towards Asnot. It missed. It missed masculine. But Toshiro she got to control and direct the ice, and it made sure that all hit Asnot instead of masculine because it already missed him. As all hit Asnot, well, all ice hit him. You can't tell that it's a person under that ice. It is just, honestly, a very human-shaped iceberg. But eventually, the ice kind of just exploded, as just so built up, and Asnot's body is nowhere to be found within the ice. So yeah. Master Masculine escapes Renji with their battle, and quote-unquote ending in a draw. But realistically, Renji had won, the fact that Master Masculine retreated. So, yeah. Next fight. Or next part. And in this one, nobody lost their Bankai, and if they did, it's restored, so it doesn't matter. Now, they do hold a small funeral for the dead fodder Shinigami, or civilians, so yeah. But this had to do intense training for everyone else, for people like Komamura who learned humanification, or humanification. Everyone else just learned from the Zero Division still, and they learn from the Zero Division, get healed and all that. And Ichigo let Aizen out. Ichigo would go and begin teaching Aizen how to contact his non-functional spirit so he can learn a Bankai. Aizen's Bankai allows him to control any reishi of his opponent that he encountered. Even if his opponent clashed swords once, he has full control over his opponent's reishi, not allow him to even swing a sword properly. So yeah. Aizen even trains under Wetsu to actually perfect his Zanpakuto spirit relationship. So yeah. But Ryukin even reveals that he has a spy in the Stern Order now. His son, Ryu. Now, one common day, while they finish up their training, Seireitei is replaced with the Wandenreich. And the fights now begin. Bazby will stare down Toshiro, and the two begin clashing for a bit. But Toshiro eventually just had Chikai and froze Bazby's hands and his legs. But immediately, Rangiku would kind of fire ash at the head of Bazby before she says, Bankai. Her ash, with multiplied numbers, and it exploded all around Bazby's body, leaving his head just a steaming pile of ash. Next fight. BG9 would attempt to harm Omaida and his sister, but Soifun arrived, and using her Bankai, she blew off BG9's arm, and the majority of his chest cavity, and of his body. But Omaida jumped in, as he's also a lot stronger than before, when he his strength of Reishi, even using Kido, to blow a hole to blow quote unquote blow Big Knight's back out by kind of racing the whole back half of his body. So yeah. So got it back. Now Komamura arrived to fight with Bambietta, but he's only human form. He's arrived in getting and just simply kicked her head off. He arrived kicked her head off, but then two people tried to fight him, Candace and Lilotto. Tosin arrived as well and fought Lilotto, who's using just enhanced strength. While Komamura just fought Candace, who's using lightning. Komamura is hitting faster than lightning is and kills her pretty easily. And Candace and Lilotto got slaughtered. But no, Lilotto uses eating. So it's not getting Tosin, actually, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, now Renji had a dream match with the Masculine, and with only a Shikai, he slaughtered him. And his fanboy was also pretty easy. Like these two got mid diffed by Renji. Actually, no, fuck that, low diffed by Renji. Yeah, he destroyed them. And now next fight, Ikkaku trained with who was it? Now before Kenpachi had measured Bankai, Ikkaku was avidly training with Yachiru avidly, and he was actually able to use her sensing ability or powers, and as Yonel or the Terminator V, not V, actually no, yeah, Terminator V or the supposed Terminator V, he tried to vanish, his presence and everything. But as he's analyzing them from shadows, Ikkaku picked up a spear and jammed it clean through this guy's head, like through skull and all, killing him immediately. Everyone Ikkaku knew he was there, and he kind of smirked, saying, "Oh no worries. I don't know how I did it. It was just my last gift from Yachiru." So yeah. Next fight. So Grammy was stared down Kenpachi and Yumachika. As they attacked, Grammy tried to dodge the rock. He tried to, but as soon as he dodged, Yumachika had wrapped vines around him and completely drained a quarter of his reishi. Grammy at this point was actually scared because he's never felt this weak before. But suddenly, before he knew it, a red hand would punch him in the face and him flying through the air, as his red hand is wielding a gigantic Zanpakuto toe. Kenpachi unlocked the form of the Shikai being half ogre, half Kenpachi. So that's as much Shikai as he's able to use half the power of his Zanpakuto toe. So yeah. Kind of how Komamura, when he uses Shikai, he can use the limbs of his giant avatar, but not the full body. Kenpachi can use limbs of his ogre form, but not the full transformation. So yeah. Now with this, Kenpachi had a random punches Grammy in the head full force, and poor Grammy was like, any thoughts in like his dying moment. His whole body and even blood is wrapped up in vines. As you mentioned, he had kind of absorbed everyone's reishi and being of Grammy. Even his brain is mostly absorbed now. Now with this, well, immediately Ichigo would feel something different in his Zanpakuto toe. His Zanpakuto toe would kind of pull him in, saying, oh, we have that adaptability to the imagination thing. Immediately Ichigo says, oh, well, there's not much I want to imagine in this moment besides healing. So imagine saying, I think that it'd be good to heal, restore, and amp everyone's power, injuries, and body. And his imagination did just that. All of Grammy's energy had left his Zanpakuto toe, and the quote-unquote wish was granted, as this kind of was a wish. Yeah. Ichigo arrived from Dangai with Aizen, and he has an amp from Ichigo and even Ichibei. As he arrived, Ichigo eventually kind of had his arm in bandages, as he had yelled, "Eternal Getsuga Tensho." As he would use a slash, immediately the whole Wandenreich dimension is just destroyed with the slash, and it was a basic one-handed slash that destroyed this said dimension. Pretty OP. Now, with the Wandenreich destroyed, they were all put back in the Seireitei, and they basically used a barrier. Aizen and his division used a barrier to heal everyone inside, unless they were not combatants. In the meantime, the division still gets washed by Yhwach, but Aizen is pretty much safe so far. So yeah. Mayuri faces Giselle and her zombies, but Ryu can arrive and shut them all down with small slivers of like a silver. That forces Giselle's Reishi to rush out of the zombies and made them Shinigami again if they weren't dead. So people like kind of Toshiro who didn't die, blood just got on them. He's back to normal now. Everyone who was just dead are dead now. They're still dead. So yeah. And Ryu can just use his arrow on Giselle. She tried to like block it. I don't know what it was, but then she smacked her hand away from. She tried to smack it with her hand. Well, their hand is just blown apart, and the arrow just goes through their body, killing them. So yeah. Now Yoruichi, Shunsui, Kenpachi, and Mayuri are basically dead back on like the division to protect them so they don't die by Yhwach's hands. But they fight the guards instead. Yoruichi fight Askin, and she has an amp from Ichigo still, but also an amp from Mayuri. Now this helped her with her switches in Shinrika that allowed her to go from 47 to 59 switches. It's shocking actually. So yeah. These are there's like 47, 59 switches a second, so there's a lot of them. Remember, she killed Askin in just 3 minutes, so yeah. She's in control of every single switch, and she remembered every single switch. She didn't even pass out. But yeah. Now Shunsui. Shunsui would fight Leibaro, but Shunsui and him kind of began fighting. Eventually Shunsui was able to block every single attack until he actually stabbed Leibaro clean through the chest. It shocks everyone that Leibaro actually got hurt. And Shunsui kind of smiled, saying, "Sorry, but nobody's immune to these blades." Tilting his hat up before they see a shard of a hollow mask right on his face. Then with this, they look at the sword even closer, seeing the blade, the sharp part is lined with silver. Yeah, they did a lot of analyzation on the silver, a lot of it. So yeah. But essentially, she had to actually kill the Libero. And the Libero was helpless every single attack, no matter how much he blocked or tried to counter. So essentially, is cutting through him like paper, no matter what. So yeah. So Libero was pretty easily killed by Shunsui. Kenpachi kind of stares on Gerard before he turned into his ogre form fully and cut him to pieces. But Gerard kept turning back into his giant form before Kenpachi decided to actually use an attack that he's been working on, using his hollified Bankai. He spat out basically a giant black ball of flames that hit Gerard that made him grow in size. But eventually, as Gerard even turned into like his giant golden form, he somehow hit a limit. This confused him. He's like, I'm supposed to have a limit. Why do I have a limit? But suddenly the flames began getting to him as he yelled, "What? What is this? They don't go out. It burns." Gerard realized he's not upgrading more, not even healing from these burns anymore, and somehow his body began melting. Suddenly his arms both fell off, and Pinabari jumped up before cutting him in half using Shikai ability. And as he landed, he looked at him saying, "These flames. They're made from the Reishi of hollows. Because no matter who I hit, these flames would have never gone out, even if it was Yhwach. But I doubt I could have touched him." So yeah. But yeah. Now we go on to the next fight, being basically Mayuri versus Pernida. But yeah. Now if you guys are like Nanzol or Nasal, whatever his name is, he's pretty easily killed by Kenpachi. But Mayuri would fight Pernida with Kiryu by his side, and Nemo was in sacrifice, so she's alive. But Mayuri and Kiryu are pretty easily able to use their powers in tandem to kill Pernida before he even evolved or got knowledge about his powers. So it was pretty simple. Now Ichibe, Oetsu, Kidenji, Aizen, and Senjumaru fight Yhwach. They defeated before something happened. A black-haired man emerged with eyes matching Yhwach. Next to a tall muscular man, a lady with a captain's robe, and a very certain carrot top. We flash back to basically just Uryu versus Hugram. As these two fight, even with the Almighty, Uryu isn't weakened by Quincy attacks. Instead, he's actually virtually immune to Quincy attacks. They don't hurt him too much. They barely do any damage, even if it's Hugram. Uryu even used contained hollow techniques to actually poison Hugram slowly and weaken him. Eventually, Huron was defeated by Uryu, who's very minimally injured, and he looks around seeing his allies being killed by Shinigami, and even Yhwach killing off fodder. Huron sees the wrongings of Yhwach and even the... Sorry about that. Huron sees the wrongs of Yhwach and himself, and just the Shinigami as well, but the Yhwach even worse than them. So he has an idea. He says, "Come here" to Uryu, who walks over. Uryu leans down Huron uses the power to actually give power to Uryu, giving him the letter A. He doesn't tell him what it's for. But then before Uryu knew it, Huron poured all this reishi into Uryu as much as possible. Uryu shocked before his eyes turned into that of Yhwach, as he learns what the A stands for. The Almighty. Yhwach was still asleep, and I'm going to use his advanced power he had to put his reishi into the letter A, which gave Uryu the Almighty. And because Huron died, but Uryu keeps reishi, he has the letter A, but he also has the Almighty either way. So, yeah. But Uryu found Chad, Orihime, and Ichigo about to go in, until he gave them letters telling them he learned his power now. Then he gave the letter F to Chad, the fist. He can enhance his own punch power, or create fists, kind of how Karakuri can, but these fists are stronger than his own. These fists do a lot more damage than usual. Ichigo is given the title to drive the Soul King, the Shinigami King. He basically gained every single known Shinigami power that they're taught, but on a mastered level, and he knows everything about it, which includes Kido, Hakuda, all that. But also he's given infinite reishi with this shrift. Then the letter H is given to Orihime, the healed. She can heal anyone, or even resurrect them, but if she were to resurrect them, it'd knock her out for days on end. So yeah. But Ichigo, Uryu, and Chad fight, plus Orihime, fight Yhwach, but he can't seem to do less damage to any of them, since Ichigo and Orihime are master healers who can restore energy and heal wounds, even restore limbs with just a wave of their hand. And Chad can virtually stop any single attack he wants to. There's nothing getting past his defense. And Uryu using Almighty can actually kind of counter any attack he wants to, or see it coming with really no effort. After 12 minutes of stalemating, each decided to use a technique. He used a lot of his powers in tandem. And he tells them all, just heal him or distract Yhwach. He used the Horn of Salvation, Zanka no Tachi North, Tensei Zangetsu, Grand Wave Sero, and he charged all of these to a Quincy bow and arrow. Chad would shoot a fist that Ichigo jumps on as it punches Yhwach into the air. And as they're in the air, everyone from the barrier are on Ichigo and people that form the barrier are Orihime, the whole Zero Division, and Aizen. The barrier is meant to suspend them in the air, but also protect everyone from the damage of this attack. Ichigo does this attack off, point blank to Yhwach's body, and at this point Yhwach doesn't have the Soul King power, so he cannot help this attack, and there's nothing he can do about it. As this attack is let off, it was so strong that it destroyed the barrier, and it dyed the skies all across 3 dimensions. Or not 3 dimensions, it dyed the skies... Okay, I'll say it for something. I didn't explain it earlier. Mundo and Soul Society are fused, but there's still a section for the Hollows. You know how the Wandenreich is in the shadows of the Soul Society, like they're in the actual shadows? Well, there's like a lower section of Soul Society where the Hollows are. Ichigo just had Dean and Toast take an elevator down there and fight all everyone down there. There's 2 levels of the Soul Society. Mundo is right under them. Think of this, think of a house. Society is the house. The basement is like Mundo. Or the daytime is Soul Society. The nightclub is Mundo. Kind of how it's supposed to be. But he dyed the skies, and even if Mundo doesn't need sunlight, well, their skies are now red instead of black. In the land of living, their skies are also dyed red and black, so or red and white actually. But the attack was so strong that it turned Yhwach to ash, incinerated his body and his reishi. So yeah. But Ichigo's second so strong that it even laid Ryu Shinjaka to rest finally. Now, if this smoke hit the ground, Ichigo was on the ground, supposedly dead until Orihime would use her resurrection ability to bring him back to life. He got back up naked, but he's alive. Soul King was still, quote-unquote, alive, still, and Ichigo led his friends out of the panic zone as they went back to land of living. And, yeah. Eventually, like a few weeks later, he has kids he gets Orihime pregnant, and, yeah, keep in mind, they are still 17, almost 18. But they both have the intelligence of adults, so physically, they're still in their teens, or chronologically, they're still in their teens. Physically and mentally, they're beyond anyone their age. Mentally and physically, they should be, quote-unquote, a few hundred years old. But yeah, well, mainly Ichigo should be a few hundred years old. 1,000, actually. But yeah. And Ichigo has a new title, the Shinigami King, since he still has a shrift. Until Ryu dies, the shrift is still here. Now, the Soul King's records are basically just erased off the face of the earth, and everyone who knows about it kind of has their memories replaced. It does take a long time for this to happen, but it happens. And Ichigo, everything but the Soul King is kind of replacing Ichigo. Ichigo's not known as a human. As human Shinigami, no, he's known as basically the son of Yamamoto. They kind of forge a whole new past and future for the Soul Society. Soul King never existed, and Ichigo's never a human. Instead, he was born in the middle of the war between the Quincy's and the Shinigami. But Shinigami around 1,300 years ago, and when the war revamped, he stopped it. So in fact, he actually killed the leader of the Quincy's. That's what he's known as. Ichigo is not the Quincy. He's the Shinigami King, his advisors being Aizen, Ichibei, and Uryu. The divisions even have bigger areas, as their division areas are now as big as states, with them having millions as their henchmen, or numbers. It's the point where we're being at least above 1 million makes you pretty strong. So yeah. And now they should, because when it's so big now, they actually kind of like Pokemon and Society actually fused now to the point where it's just one area, and then they actually have a sun now. So like Pokemon has a sun. And Harley agreed that the Society should be fused with them now. But yeah. Now Grimmjow, Kenpachi, Ryuken, and Ryuka train Kazui, while Kaku train Ichika. But Ichigo did something different. Ichigo still has Grimmy's brain, Gerard's heart, Pernida as a hand, and Ukutake still alive, so that's fine. He set all the limbs up in suspension, and would use the power of Grimmy's brain. He harnessed it, and was actually to make a real Yachiru who would help train Ichigo. So yeah, for this, Ichigo's alive. Not Ichigo, I mean, Yachiru's alive. And he'll Ichigo train with Ikaku. And, yeah, you guys don't know who Ichigo is. She is the daughter of Renji and Byakuya. But with this would end the story of What If Ichigo was raised in Seireitei. Hope you guys enjoyed this What If. Like and subscribe for more. Adios.